wasn't World Athletics, but that's not what I'm proudest about. I'm proudest about the fact that I was an athlete many years ago. Probably, well, certainly before you guys were born, before your parents were born, and probably a good chunk of your grandparents. So I was a 1500 meter runner, and I won the Olympic title twice at that distance in 1980. It's 1980, not 1880. And 1984, Moscow and Los Angeles. I also broke the world record. So I held the world record for 800 meters as well. And I suppose the observation I would like to make is a thank you, a congratulations, and with a congratulations also a warning. Thank you for choosing athletics, because I'm biased. I think it's the best sport out there. And actually, the point I always make is even if you choose not to become athletes and you're passing through the sport to do another sport, then there's no better grounding than athletics. It will give you every skill set, every mental aptitude that you need for whatever sport. But I'm delighted, and thank you for choosing our sport. Congratulations, because there comes a warning with that. It is also the toughest sport to achieve at the highest level. So when you see somebody like Kieran doing what he's done, it's tougher for him to win a medal at an Olympic Games or a World Championships than it is in any other sport, because there are only really two truly global sports. There's football, which I think we accept, and the other is track and field. You know, you joined a sport where well over 200 countries in the world are doing that, and they're doing it at every level. Running is the most participated sport in the world, and you've chosen a sport that is not only fabulous, but it is very hard. If it was easy, it would be football. It's not. It's complicated, and it will demand focus, and nothing that you are going to do is going to happen overnight. When did you first join school sports or athletics in any shape or form? What age were you?
14.
Sorry?
14.
13. Well, there you go. So I joined an athletics club when I was 11. I didn't get to an Olympic Games until I was 22. So even simple maths tells you that's well over 10 years. And that is what you need to be able to put in. And you need to deal with the setbacks as well as the big moments. And it's actually how you bounce back from the setbacks that makes the biggest difference in your career, because off the back of that you build on other things. So thank you, congratulations, and the warning is you've also chosen the toughest event. Anybody doing 800 meters here? That is very wise, because that is also, I think, the toughest discipline. But sprinting is where it's at the moment. You've got some fabulous role models, and in the next few months, you'll be able to watch a documentary about the top 100 meter runners in the world, Netflix. Over a few episodes in the lead up to the Paris Games, they followed all our 100 meter runners, our sprinters, male and female, through Diamond League last year, Continental Tour, and on to Budapest. So that will also give you an insight in what it takes to get to the very highest level. And you're very lucky. You have great coaches here, you have a great federation president, you've got a minister that really supports, and a premier that supports everything that you are the beneficiaries of, and you've got a good coach. So good luck, and I'm really happy to answer any questions you might have. But if you've got other things that you need to be doing, don't worry, I'm here to watch you as well. So thank you very much for being here. Yeah, of course.
So, how are you able to develop the mental toughness to continue moving forward and achieve the stuff you achieved?
Great question, and you're right. The it doesn't really matter how physically talented you are if you don't bring the type of focus, the type of mental focus, and not just over 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, but maybe a decade, then it may not happen. But the only thing I can say is that mental toughness is really important, but I don't think mental toughness comes unless you are physically in great shape. And I always found the more confident, the more mentally confident I was when I went into a race, it was normally because no stone had been unturned in training. That I never went into a race where I was worried that I was going to be confronted with something that I hadn't dealt with 1,000 times on the training track. So I think it's the great skill is being physically in supreme condition, mentally focused, and that you will grow into. You can't gain all that overnight. I knew a lot more about myself when I went to my second Olympic Games than I did before my first Olympic Games, and I knew a lot more about myself even in my first Olympic Games than I did when I was 14 or 15. It's inevitable. So in the way that I said nothing great in athletics happens overnight, you build that mental strength, that mental confidence, but my instinct is that it is built off the back of being supremely and physically well conditioned. And in your particular discipline, you've got to call on a lot of skills. You've got strength, you've got endurance, you've got flexibility, mobility, because you don't want to get injured. And if you get all that right, then you will actually naturally grow confident about your own skills. So I think they go together, but physicality and then the mental strength tends to follow, if that makes sense.
Any more questions, guys?
You had any other good 800 meter athletes running with you?
Yeah, I did. I had some really good 800 meter runners with me. I competed against probably one of the best 800 meter runners of all time. Going back a few years, a guy called Mike Boyd from Kenya, who was the African record holder, was Commonwealth record holder, was an Olympic medalist, and a world record holder too. And I came through and learnt my craft with him. Another great Brazilian athlete, a guy called Jahphix, who actually beat me in the 800 meter final in Los Angeles. So some really very good Kenyan athletes, some good European athletes. I had a rivalry in my own country with an athlete called Steve Yvette many years ago, a very, very talented 800 meter runner as well, and European champion at 1500 meters and Olympic champion at 800. So yeah, it was a good era. And actually, having competition around you is also quite a motivator, because you are always sitting thinking, I wonder what the other guy is doing, whether he's out doing a second training session, a third training session, and you will find that in itself is a motivator. What about the back row? You're all very, very quiet. Well, there you are. I'll put you on the spot now.
I have a two-part question, right?
Two-part question. My goodness,
Yeah.
Should I sit down for this one?
Nah, so when you broke the world record, world record, did you attempt to break it again?
Yes.
And when you couldn't break it again, how did you
did.
feel? Okay, sorry.
So I broke the 800 meter record twice.
Yeah.
I broke the mile record 3 times, and I broke the 1500 meter record twice, and I broke the 1000 meters, the 1000 meter world record twice, and indoors as well. So in total, I broke about 11 world records.
Woo. So you was happy with that, or did you try to break any of those records again?
Yeah, for sure. And I came quite close to breaking the world record for 1500 metres on the third occasion. I missed it by literally a few hundredths of a second.
How did you feel about that?
I was really happy about that. No, I'm joking. No, I was, frustrated because actually it went wrong in the race because it was my own fault. I should have gone earlier rather than following a pacemaker. And those are the decisions. They're marginal decisions, and that's the nature of my sport, because my discipline, you guys don't have pacemakers. It's you and the rest of the field and the lane in front of you. But when you've got races in lanes, there are other complications, and sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. But again, that's the sort of thing you work on the training track. Second part.
Now, I was just asking because, let's say you were frustrated about not breaking it again.
Yes.
And I just really wanted to know why, because with your record, breaking so many records before, why would you have been frustrated?
Yeah, but I think, if I may say so, don't ever confuse winning and breaking records as being the sole driver. It was actually about potential. And you can win a race and you can still know you can go faster. And you can break a record and you can still go faster. So really, the ambition is about how far can you take the experiment. It's important that you win when you compete. You don't go in to lose. But sometimes when you lose races, you learn more in terms of further development than you actually do when you win. I lost the European Championships when I was 19, 20, back in the day, and we completely changed my training program. Everything we did differently, and a year later I'd broken the world record. So would I have done that had I won that race? Possibly not. I might not have challenged myself, or my coaches might not have challenged to do it differently. So yeah, you want to win, of course, and you want to break records, of course, but actually ultimately I think it's about your own potential that you're permanently chasing. So on that basis, you can never really be satisfied until you know there is nowhere else you can go. So it's not just simply about winning or losing, it's about your own development.
In the interest of time, we'll take one more question, but we want to get to the other clubs. So if there's any burning questions, this is your last chance to ask.
I was just wondering really quickly, Seb, would you say that the monetary rewards that the athletes get today is a bigger motivation for the international athletes?
I don't think, look, money is important, prize money is important. We're going to try and improve on prize money, and we did that at the World Championships in Eugene a year ago. We put another $1 million into our prize money pot. But my instinct is not that these guys, I may be wrong, but I don't think you're doing it for money. I think you're doing it because A, you love athletics, and B, you want to find out how good you are. And my responsibility as a federation president is to make sure that where I can make a difference, I can help, with prize money and making, giving you some financial security out of becoming professional full-time athletes. But I don't think anybody goes into a sport thinking that it's to make money. It's a bit like going into anything. If you don't really want to do it, you're probably not going to do it.
How did you tackle moments when you must have felt, is this sport for me? Do I want to continue? How do I persevere? And pushing
I
on
never
to
felt like that.
So, and moments when you, let's say you didn't hit goals, if you came down, how did you pick yourself back up?
You have to just remind yourself why you're doing your sport. And it's like any other day. Sometimes you get a better day than others in the office. But I lost the 800 meters in Moscow. I just reminded myself about all the work I'd done in the previous 10 years, and that I didn't want to go home empty-handed from the next race. And also that you don't become a bad athlete overnight, and you have to absorb very, very quickly the mistakes you've made. and turn them around. You haven't the time to dwell on that. And actually I was lucky because I only had 3 days between the 2 races, so you do that. And I've never ever felt that this wasn't something I really wanted to do, so that tells me I was probably doing it for the right reasons. And that's why the answer to the question about money is, I want athletes to have good prize money. I want them to secure their futures financially, but I don't think that's why somebody goes into a sport.